Mamile, belle, la moustache et la capucha. Sito patamilo, milata, katiki, bunetica. Sito patamilo, milata, katiki, bunetica. Sito patamilo, milata, katiki, bunetica. Sito patamilo, milata, katiki, takatiki. Sito patamilo, milata, katiki, bunetica. Sito patamilo, milata, katiki, bunetica. Sito patamilo, milata, katiki, bunetica. Mamile, belle, la moustache et la capucha.
What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today is the Sports Rundown. So we're going to start off at the very top with the NHL. The Caps make the playoffs. The playoff games will be happening soon. It's a shocker that the Caps made it. I mean, I remember early, I think maybe probably several months ago, maybe a couple months ago actually, they weren't doing so well. It didn't look like they were going to make the playoffs. It didn't look like they were in a position to make the playoffs. Spencer Carberry was playing around with the lineup and everything like that, and it just became something that's big. But to see that the Caps are actually making the playoffs, I mean, at least the area team is making the playoffs this year. So, I mean, that is a good thing. So, again, playoffs start, I think, Saturday, or maybe today. They might start today or Saturday. But, again, glad to see that the Caps made it. We'll be watching those games very closely. We see the New York Rangers in the first round, the number one seeded team. That's going to be a very tough task to deal with when it comes to that. So, again, Caps make the playoffs. Next, in the NHL, the Arizona Coyotes are moving to Utah. Now, for y'all who don't know about this franchise has moved a lot. It started off as the Winnipeg Jets in Canada, then moved to Arizona. Initially, they were the Phoenix Coyotes. Then they became the Arizona Coyotes. Now they're moving to Utah. And they're moving because something that has been a bad thing for a lot of cities lately, and that's these super wealthy owners wanting the public to pay for stadiums and stuff like that. And, you know, at some point this has got to be over with, because not everybody can afford a stadium. Not every taxpayer wants to pay for a stadium for a team that doesn't give them free tickets. Like that, it would be nice if, as a consolation thing, people from that city got very cheap tickets or discounted tickets or something. Like they give the fans nothing, but yet you want all these people and the people from the city to pay for these stadiums, and then if they don't pay for the stadiums, y'all threaten to leave. So again, like I said, this at some point this thing has to stop, where these owners are expecting the taxpayers of these states and these cities to be the ones to fund them building a stadium when they have billions of dollars to build their own stadiums. You know, so again, like I said, here we are again, another sports franchise moving because taxpayers refuse to pay for a stadium, and the option is for multi-billionaires to leave and go to another city in hopes to get their taxpayers to pay for the stadium. So again, at some point this got to stop. Give the people of the city, give the people of that area, give the fans free tickets or discounted tickets, something, so that when it doesn't hit them as hard when you ask them to pay for a stadium. Next is the Mystics pass on Angel Reese. Like that was probably the biggest mind-boggling thing that happened this week, because I mean, when we saw that Angel Reese wasn't taken number 2 overall by the Lakers and she was falling in the draft, I swear, when I saw Angel Reese was still on the board, Washington is at number 6, and they didn't take Angel Reese, man, like that was a big hit. And not only that, the Chicago Sky is going to be a very dangerous team this year, because you're talking about, you got Angel Reese and Cardozo on both on the same team, man. Like, but I mean, don't get me wrong, Aaliyah Edwards isn't a bad player. She's not a bad player at all, but she just doesn't bring that star power that Angel Reese brings. And, you know, that right there was enough. And even with that, I get that you don't want her, Angel Reese, really competing with Ariel Atkins for that power forward position. Because I think it's Ariel that plays it. I think Ariel is the one that plays the power forward position. But I get it, but still, Angel Reese would have brought some star power here and would have really sold tickets just on who she is. So, I mean, that was a bad move on the Mystics, but I guess I can understand. Next, the NBA play-in games are today, and the playoffs for the NBA is tomorrow. So the play-in games will be the Pelicans versus the Kings and the Bulls versus the Heat. I don't see how the Heat can win without Jimmy Butler being around. But the Bulls are a fairly solid team. And he got the Pelicans and the King, and just recently Zion went out. So I don't know if the Pelicans can make it past the Kings, but we'll see. And then on Saturday, the NBA playoffs start, and the game I will have my attention on will be the Lakers versus the Nuggets. I want to actually see how they play, because I do feel, I'm sorry to say this, I know people may not really understand it, but I do feel that the Lakers could probably knock off the Nuggets. So we'll see how this goes. This is going to be a very exciting NBA playoff season, so be ready for it. But those games are, the play-in games are tonight, and the play-all start on Saturday. So next, Jontay Porter is suspended indefinitely by the NBA due to sports gambling. These sports leagues need to understand what's happening now. Sports gambling has become a big thing nowadays, and there's a lot of people that are doing things like sitting up there and they got all these prop bets and things that don't cost you much money. But why are we surprised? Just recently, I think probably just yesterday or maybe a couple days ago, maybe it's today, I don't know, but the NFL just reinstated several guys who were suspended last year for sports betting and stuff like that. I mean, you're talking about Shaka Toney of the Commanders. He was reinstated. Rashad Berry from the Indianapolis Colts. Cephas, the wide receiver from the Lions. I mean, a lot of guys are coming back from being basically suspended indefinitely, and they were just all reinstated this year. So, I mean, Jontay Porter, I mean, look, what do you expect when betting is all around these guys? I mean, their friends are doing it, and again, I don't see an issue with it. Now, I understand that he can't be betting on games where he can find a way to win a prop bet or be the reason for a prop bet to win. But again, this is like something that he's a lower level player. Of course, he knows he's not going to play a lot of minutes, so I would bet that too. Now, again, he did affect some of the betting because there were a couple games where they said he was about to get over his minutes or something like that, and he went out, he went fake like he was sick. So sports betting is what it is, and at some point you got to stop pinging these players or just simply get rid of it altogether. If you don't want these guys doing it, then find a way to get them out. Remember, I think it was year before last when Calvin Ridley was dinged for the sports betting and all that, and he lost the season. So again, they have to do something about this. They either have to make it. It's just like the thing that was said. I'm gonna take a quote from the TV show Power. You're either all in or you're all out. You can't be a civilian. You can't be a civilian and a gangster. You have to be one or the other. So again, It's one of those situations where you can't sit up there and want these guys to be squeaky clean and not bet on gambling, but yet put gambling in their faces and around them all day. So with that, sports leagues have to do something. They have to do something. And suspending players and having them lose their livelihood and things like that, that's not all their fault. You can't sit up there and do that. Either you're with sports betting or you're not with sports betting and all the things that come bad with sports betting, which also includes your players betting on the games. Now, for this particular one, this is one that I've been avoiding this particular topic for a while now because it's one that I just don't think is that special or that interesting, but it's getting close. And that is the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight. Exhibition fight, real fight. We don't know what the hell this is going to be. But this particular fight, there's only one winner in this fight, and it's Jake Paul. Jake Paul is the winner of this fight. Should he win or should he lose? It doesn't even matter. Because guess what? If Mike Tyson doesn't knock him out in the first round, he wins. You know why? Because the talk is going to be Jake Paul survived several rounds with Mike Tyson. There's so many boxers who's never done that. But then if he beats Mike Tyson, then it's going to be, oh my God, Jake Paul, the boxing king has beat the evil Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet. Nobody's going to consider the fact that Mike Tyson is almost 60-something years old. Like, nobody. And it's a very sad thing because again, Jake Paul can only be the winner in this fight. Now, here's the downside to this. It's not that Mike Tyson have to win. He needs to win. And the reason he needs to win is because if Mike Tyson loses, everybody and their mamas will be trying to disrespect Mike Tyson, forgetting that he's a former pro boxer. So Mike Tyson doesn't have to win. He needs to win this fight. Because again, if y'all look at it, there's so many boxers. Like Adrian Broner is a great example of this. I mean, this man, Adrian Broner is still a pro boxer. This man gets tried every single day. Every single day, Adrian Broner is tried on the street. And every single day, he has to sit up there and knock somebody out, punch somebody in the face, do something like that, and he's in trouble, all because people are feeling like they can beat him because he's lost fights. The same thing applies to Mike Tyson. If Mike Tyson loses to Jake Paul, or he doesn't knock Jake Paul out in the first round, people will be testing Mike Tyson. If Mike Tyson don't knock Jake Paul out at all, forget the first round. If Mike Tyson don't knock Jake Paul out at all, people are going to try Mike Tyson. That's just what it is. And I know some people are like, nah, ain't nobody. No. If a fighter loses, lots of times there are people that's out there that will try him because they feel that they can beat him. So again, there's only one winner in this fight, and that's Jake Paul. But Mike Tyson needs to knock Jake Paul out and win, and he needs to win this fight so people don't be testing him out on the street. Now for the segment that everybody is loving. It's the It's All Cap segment of the show. And I start out with the very first story. USC is being faulted for Bronny James not playing as well this year. People are saying the talks is that he should have been playing point guard this year. This is where it's all cap, because you gotta understand. Come on now, y'all people. First off, Bronny James was on a team where they already had a point guard in Isaiah Collier. Isaiah Collier is going to be a lottery pick this year. He's one of the top players in this upcoming draft. There's no way in hell that the USC team would have sat up there and not had Isaiah Collier as the point guard. And not only that, when you're talking about the possibility of playing positionless basketball, if Bronny James is struggling playing the wing, what is going to happen when he gets to the league? Because there's been plenty of times where players have to sit up there and play different positions. And you can't fault the school or the team because the guy in the role that everybody's saying he's good at is there's just a better player in that role. What is the team supposed to do? Again, what would have happened if they sat up there and said, okay, Bronny, you're going to be a point guard, but guess what? You're coming off the bench. Then what? People would have had a fit with that too. So again, it's not USC's fault that Bronny was played out of position or whatever. Bronny needs to learn how to play multiple positions. He can't have the ball in his hands all day. There's going to be times where he might need to be on the wing, spot up, and be able to shoot the three and hit the three consistently to play in this league. There's plenty of times we've seen Steph Curry go from the point guard to the shooting guard. There's times years ago we saw Gilbert Arenas go from the point guard to the shooting guard. We've seen guys transition from either or. Ja Morant will go from point guard to the shooting guard. We've seen it happen in this league. And hell, we even seen Bradley Beal go from shooting guard to a point guard. So who else? Jordan Poole, Tice. I can't think his name. But right now, there's so many guys that transition in and out of the point guard position, and they still can play. But yet and still, you saying that Bronny, USC is at fault because Bronny didn't play point guard, especially when there was a better player than him currently at the point position? Yo, don't do that. It's not USC's fault. That's all cap. Last but not least, for the next all cap segment, the Giants, the New York Giants, saying that they're fine with their quarterback room. Get out of here. That's cap. There's no way that you're fine with a Daniel Jones recovering from injury. Now, I don't understand this for the life of me. Daniel Jones has been struggling the whole time he's been in New York. And at some point, you got to move on. But there's no way you're comfortable with Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, and Tommy DeVito as your quarterbacking group. Are you crazy? There's no way you're telling me that the Giants are okay with going into the next season with those three guys at quarterback. I mean, if you're talking about the inconsistency, that is crazy. Because in reality, Tommy DeVito might be better than the other two. And that's a very sad statement to make. So with that being said, there's no way in hell the Giants are fine with their current quarterback room. And that is the end of the segment, because you know why? All this is all cap. Other than that, y'all, this has been the Sports Rundown. This has been your man, John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.